Do you know what truly separates the survivors from the casualties when a crisis hits? It isn't a stroke of luck or a massive bank account. It comes down to possessing the specific tool you need at the exact second you need it. Here is the reality most people miss. The majority of that life-saving equipment costs less than a single trip to the grocery store. I'm Zach, and I've been immersed in the world of Larry Survivor since 2012. In my early days, I flushed money down the drain on tactical-looking junk that looked great on a shelf, but fell apart when the stakes were high. Today, I'm walking you through 25 pieces of gear under $20 that actually perform. Forget those useless impulse buys that clutter your drawers. These are battle-tested assets that could be the difference between life and death. Pay close attention to number 17, because even seasoned pros tend to overlook it. Until the situation turns south, let's dive in with the one item everyone underestimates: a water filtration straw. Finding a clean source of hydration is your absolute top priority. You can survive for weeks without a meal, but 3 days without water and your clock runs out. A filtration straw can turn a stagnant puddle into safe, drinkable water in an instant. You don't need to wait for a fire to boil it or mess around with chemical tablets. I keep one stashed in my glove box, one in my emergency pack, and one in my wife's bag, because emergencies rarely happen when you're sitting comfortably at home. These devices strip out bacteria and parasites, with most capable of processing 1,000 liters. That's roughly 260 gallons of safety for a measly $15. Just remember a tip I picked up the hard way back in 2014: always keep a small cleaning syringe with it. These straws can seize up if they aren't back flushed, and you never want to find out your lifeline is plugged when you're already thirsty. Next, we need to talk about LED headlamps. Handheld flashlights are fine if you enjoy being one-handed in the dark, but try swapping a tire, bandaging a wound, or preparing a meal while holding a light between your teeth. It's a nightmare. A headlamp gives you your hands back. You can find solid models for $12 to $18 that run for hours, and many include a red light setting to keep your eyes adjusted to the dark. I learned this during a massive storm in 2016. I was fumbling with a flashlight under my chin while trying to get our generator running, and dropped a tiny essential bolt into the wet grass. I searched for 20 minutes with no luck. My neighbor stepped out with a headlamp and found it in seconds. I bought 4 the very next morning. Then there are emergency Mylar blankets. They look like shiny sheets of foil, and people often laugh them off because they seem too flimsy to matter. They are dead wrong. These blankets can reflect up to 90% of your body heat back to you. They weigh next to nothing, fold smaller than a wallet, and cost about $5. Hypothermia is a silent killer that doesn't need a blizzard to take you out. If you get soaked in 50-degree weather without a way to get dry, your core temperature will plummet. I have these everywhere: my truck, my workshop, even my daily carry bag, because being stranded is never part of the plan. Beyond warmth, they work as ground tarps, makeshift shelters, or even high-visibility signals for rescue teams. Moving on to fire starter kits. Matches get soggy and lighters fail when the wind picks up, but a ferrocerium rod and striker will throw sparks in almost any environment. These tools create heat intense enough to catch thunder even when the world is damp. A quality kit is only 10 to 15 and will last for thousands of strikes. Fire provides more than just warmth. It's your way to cook, sanitize water, and keep your spirits up. In 2015, I took my kids on a trip and realized my lighter was dry, and my matches had absorbed moisture. If I hadn't stashed a ferro rod in my pack, we would have been cold and hungry. Instead, I had a flame going in 2 minutes and looked like a hero to my kids. Keep yours in a dry bag, and for the love of Larry Survivor, practice using it before the lights go out. Now let's talk about the most underestimated tool on this list: the compact multi-tool. Having pliers, a blade, screwdrivers, and a can opener in your pocket is a game changer. You can find reliable versions for under $20. I use mine daily, not just when things go wrong. Whether it's tightening a loose bracket or cutting through heavy cordage, it's always there. Last year, when my mirror was vibrating loose on a washboard road, I fixed it in 30 seconds rather than waiting for help. Just make sure you get one with locking blades so it doesn't fold on your fingers, and check the reviews to ensure it won't snap under a little pressure. Then we have paracord, a 50-foot bundle of 550 grade cord is about $10. and is arguably the most flexible item you can own. You can use it to lash down gear, build a lean-to, or even pull out the inner threads to use as fishing line or sewing thread. It supports 550 pounds, hence the name. I keep mine coiled on a carabiner for immediate use. Here is a piece of advice: learn your knots now. Trying to remember a bowline or a clove hitch while you're shivering and stressed is a recipe for failure. Master those two plus the taut line hitch, and you can handle nearly any structural challenge. When the grid collapses and your phone becomes a useless brick, how will you get news? A hand-cranked emergency radio is the answer for about 20 TIA. It gives you access to weather reports and emergency broadcasts without needing a wall outlet. Information is a survival pillar. Knowing where a storm is headed or where the evacuation points are can save your life. During a 4-day blackout a few years back, my entire street was in the dark, literally and figuratively. By cranking my radio every few hours, I was able to keep my neighbors informed. I wasn't just a guy with a kit. I became the block's command center because I know how daunting it is to start prepping. On a budget, I've put together a specialized resource for you. It's a completely free guide on how to turn 50 into a 90-day food reserve. We're talking specific grocery lists, the 37 items most people forget to store, and how to keep it all fresh in a small apartment. I even cover the best gas station snacks for bartering, and the one oil that won't go rancid on your shelf. This isn't fluff, it's a blueprint. You can find the link in the description or the pinned comment below. Back to the essentials: survival whistles. A $5 whistle is a powerhouse. If you are trapped or lost, shouting will wear you out in minutes. A whistle blast carries much further and takes almost zero effort. It can signal help or even deter a curious animal. I have one on every family member's pack. It's an item you hope stays silent, but you'll be profoundly grateful for it. If you ever need to be found, forget the fancy gourmet backpacking meals. You need emergency food bars. These are calorie-dense, ready to eat and stay good for years. They are designed for one thing: keeping you moving and thinking clearly. I keep a stash in my vehicle and my pantry. They don't need water or heat, which is vital when resources are scarce. Just swap them out every few years to be safe. Though they are built to outlast almost anything else in your kit. You also need a pocket first aid kit. For $15, you get the basics: bandages, antiseptic, and tape. Treating a small cut immediately prevents it from turning into a life-threatening infection. I learned this when my daughter injured her hand miles from the trailhead. Because we had a kit, we cleaned it, wrapped it, and finished the hike without a single moment of panic. Next, invest in a compact survival knife. A fixed blade knife under 20 TL is your best friend. For processing wood, prepping food, or clearing brush, always look for full tang, meaning the steel goes all the way through the handle. Partial tangs will fail when you actually put weight on them. Keep it razor sharp. A dull blade is far more dangerous because it forces you to use clumsy, high-pressure movements. Don't rely on your memory. Get a waterproof notebook and a pencil. Under high stress, your brain gets foggy. Write down your routes, your supply lists, and your emergency contacts. A 10 waterproof pad ensures those notes don't turn into a blue smudge if it rains. Use a pencil because pens fail in the cold and the ink runs. This becomes your external brain when your internal one is red lining. A compact folding shovel is another must-have for about an 18. Whether you're digging a sanitation trench, clearing a path through snow, or creating a fire pit, it beats using a stick every time. It folds down small enough to disappear in your pack, but does the work of a full-sized tool when needed. For cold weather, disposable hand warmers are literal lifesavers. They cost about $1 and provide hours of heat. Staying warm isn't about comfort, it's about dexterity. If your fingers are frozen, you can't operate your gear. I keep a box in my truck all winter long. They kept me functional when I was stuck waiting for a tow in a sub-zero storm last year. While headlamps are great for tasks, an LED lantern is what you need to light a whole room. Collapsible models are cheap and turn a terrifyingly dark house into a calm, functional space. Darkness breeds anxiety, light restores a sense of order. Keep some spare batteries nearby, and you'll be the only house on the block that doesn't feel like a cave during an outage. I also recommend a pocket-sized folding saw. These things cut through wood far faster than a knife ever could. If you need to gather fuel for a fire or clear a fallen limb, A 15 saw is worth its weight in gold. I used to think a knife was enough until I actually tried to process a thick branch. The saw did in seconds what the knife did in minutes. For water storage, grab a few collapsible containers. Most people assume they'll just fill the bathtub, but what if the water stops before you can? These containers fold flat and hold gallons of water when you need them. If you see a storm coming, fill them up immediately. Having portable water means you aren't tied to one spot. If you have to move, consider upgrading your Mylar blankets to a slightly more durable emergency bivy or blanket. For about $7, you get something that handles wind and rain much better. Redundancy is the name of the game in Larry Survivor. Having multiple ways to stay warm significantly increases your odds. Pick up a pair of mini first aid scissors too. They give you the precision you need to cut bandages or clothing without the risk of a knife slip. They are tiny but essential for any serious medical bag. I also recommend multi-purpose survival straps. These heavy-duty ties can fix a broken backpack, lash gear to a roof, or even serve as a makeshift tourniquet. I once used one to repair a snapped bag strap mid-hike, and it held up better than the original. Of course, no kit is complete without duct tape. It fixes everything from a leaking tent to a torn boot. Don't carry the whole heavy roll. Wrap a few yards around a pencil to save space. It is the ultimate fix-it tool for any scenario. Waterproof matches are your final fire backup. If your lighter is lost and your ferro rod is buried, these will light even after being dunked in a lake. They are the insurance policy for your insurance policy. Finally, keep a few emergency glow sticks. They provide hours of light with no batteries required and are perfect for marking a path or keeping kids calm. They are foolproof, just snap and shake. And one last thing, keep $20 in small bills hidden in your kit. If the power is out, the card readers won't work. Cash is the only language a store will speak. When the grid is down, all 25 of these items would cost you less than $400 combined, but you don't have to buy them today. Start with the basics: water and fire, then build your resilience piece by piece. Everything on this list is a practical tool, not a gimmick. If you want to take the next step, download that free 50 food supply guide in the comments. It's the most straightforward way to protect your family without breaking the bank. Subscribe to Larry Survivor for more honest, no nonsense advice every week. Tell me in the comments which of these items you're adding to your kit first. I read every single one. Stay sharp, stay prepared, and remember, survival is about being smart, not just being well-funded. I'll see you in the next video.